Alright, we already talked about the best of E3 2017, which if you haven't seen my best of E3 video, I'd go back and watch that first with the link down here in the description. But what about the worst of the show? There was a lot that went wrong this year, so let's get right into it. Number 10. I love backwards compatibility, but seeing this announcement at Microsoft's press conference really didn't make any sense. As cool as it may be to play your original Xbox games, I just don't see this ever being used. Halo is already on the Master Chief Collection, Fable, Riddick, and Morrowind have either already been remastered or they're on PC with updated graphics. I'm not saying this isn't a cool feature, but it seems really unnecessary, and I can't imagine anyone legitimately going back and throwing their old Xbox games, if they even still have them, into their Xbox One. Number 9. I didn't really expect anything from Square Enix at their show after we got the Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer. As awesome as their booth was this year, this trailer really pisses me off. Does Final Fantasy really need to make their VR title Cabela's Final Fantasy? Even if you really enjoyed the fishing segments in 15, I doubt you wanted their development team to focus on just this aspect of the game. It was really annoying for them to show this when they had Dissidia ready to go and Final Fantasy VII pretty hush in its production stages. Just seemed really unnecessary and ruined part of the show for me. Number 8. Look, I love Skyrim. It's one of the best games ever made, but do we really need to be hyping this game up 6 years after it came out? Skyrim VR, Skyrim on Nintendo Switch, Skyrim mods through Bethesda Creation Club? It's getting a little ridiculous at this point how much Bethesda is milking this game. I'm not saying this game is bad, it's incredible and one of the greatest of all time, but move on already. We have had plenty of Skyrim at this point. Number 7. Waiting in line sucks a lot. However, it does give people who want to play something desperately enough an opportunity to get there early and play. If you must play Mario at E3, get there early and wait in line. You'll more than likely get a chance to play. PlayStation decided to do all their E3 game demos via a phone app that asked everyone to check into slots all at the same time. That wouldn't be a problem if the app actually worked and there weren't 6 to 12 people for each half-hour slot and 68,000 people at E3. It made playing Sony's games feel less like a reward for your patience and feel more like winning a lottery. If the only game you wanted to play was Spider-Man, it didn't matter if you spent the night in line. You had to hope your phone connection was faster than 68,000 other people's, and even then you probably weren't going to get in. This system may work in other situations, and it did free up a lot of space on Sony's floor, but for E3, you gotta give people a better chance to play your games. Number 6. EA's press conference had a few cool moments, but for the most part, they did their part as being the worst E3 press conference once again. I don't understand this obsession EA has with making their sports franchises featured as esports, but no one gives a fuck about last year's Madden champion when watching an E3 press conference. They tried doing the same thing with FIFA this year, and the presenter was literally laughed off stage.
You can represent your favorite real-world team. It's true, you can.
That should say it all. Just show us games, EA. You're one of the biggest publishers in the world. There's no excuse. While you're at it, try to find commentators who can remember how to, commentate or even speak at all.
If you guys didn't know, Need for Speed Payback, yeah, it's a great game.
Number 5. I know I just complained about Sony's line issue like a minute ago and how I was mad they didn't have standard lines, but that doesn't mean that standard lines don't suck. E3 lines are the worst. 5 hours to play Mario for 15 minutes? 3 hours to play Destiny 2? Hell, there were lines outside that were just for cheap giveaway bags with Batman on them. On the last day of E3, they were closing up lines at like 1 or 2 o'clock, so if you missed playing a game and waited till Thursday, chances were you weren't going to get to play at all. Luckily, I got to play everything I wanted to play at the show floor, but it was pretty ridiculous to see a 4-hour line for a game 2 minutes after the doors opened. Number 4. I thought Microsoft nailed the Xbox One X price, and it definitely has incredible hardware. I also thought keeping it in the Xbox One family is a wonderful thing. Too bad they just didn't sell me on buying an Xbox at all. All the games they showed are either timed exclusives, on PC, or games that are coming to PS4 the same day. There were no big guns to sell this console, and they really needed at least a few for this press conference. No Gears, no Tomb Raider, no Halo. Hell, they had Halo Wars 2 expansion info that didn't even make it into their press conference. I thought the Xbox One looked cool, Crackdown and Sea of Thieves looked great, but at no point did Microsoft show or tell me why I needed to buy an Xbox One X. There was not a single must-own title at their show, and for E3, that's really bad. Number 3. Bethesda had an okay showing this year, although pretty weak compared to their previous showings. One thing they did reveal though really got under my skin. Bethesda Creation Club is essentially outsourcing for fan-made mods and a few in-house developers and charging you for them. No matter what the situation is, a company charging for fan-made mobs is ridiculous. Watching this conference, I was shocked this was real, and from the way it was presented to how it was explained later by Pete Hines, this really pisses me off and makes me feel pretty horrible for the modding community. Number 2. Watching each press conference, I enjoyed the hype train I was on in the moment watching them. Sitting back after digesting them all, these conferences were pretty awful. I thought last year's were weak, but damn it were these bad. Bethesda was extremely predictable, Microsoft couldn't sell their Xbox, EA sat in the corner and ate glue again, Ubisoft had a good showing but it wasn't game changing, Sony played it way too safe, and Nintendo had a 25-minute presentation with most games nowhere near being done. These press conferences made me feel scared as hell for the future when it should have gotten me excited like they have the past 10 years. They were still great E3 moments, but these conferences didn't feel special to me, and they're supposed to be the best part of E3. Number 1. I've been following E3 since I was 13. It's been a dream of mine to go one day and see it for myself. I got my chance to this year as a public attendee, and my feelings for the press conferences aside, E3 was something amazing that I will never forget. Unfortunately, I will also never forget how poorly the fans were balanced in with the industry people. We met a moderator for Twitch who talked down to us because we didn't work in the industry. An indie developer from Europe said none of us belonged at E3 and that we were ruining the show by just loitering around and taking up all the line space. This kind of attitude between the two sides left the worst taste in my mouth because it was taking the 15,000 fans who were clearly invited and giving them the middle finger for showing up. I understand that E3 is for the press, and the fans being a part of it probably got in the way of some people to do their job. From their perspective, it makes total sense. My problem is how it was handled throughout the show. E3 needs to change and fast because the show can't continue like this. I met countless fans who said they were probably not coming back, and I'm with them. E3 was great, but I don't see myself going again. It goes back to that joke, E3 is like taking a vacation you could have watched on your laptop for free. Why should I wait in line 5 hours to play a game for 15 minutes after someone who isn't even a game developer can insult me for being there in the first place? I don't regret going to E3, but it opened my eyes to how shitty certain people who barely work in the industry can treat people on the outside. It was the worst part of E3, and I really hope this toxic behavior is removed.